You are listening to the Dominance Academy podcast, the premier enclave for those who seek mastery in the arts of traditional relationship dynamics and the arcane knowledge of unlocking true leadership. We will explore the influence of desire, the mysteries behind polarity, the darker pathways of intimacy. And now your host, Mr. Justin.
Good evening. Happy Tuesday, everybody. This is the Dominance Academy. I am your host, Mr. Justin. And tonight we're going to do a little review video. It's a very short video. And it's had I think over 25,000 views. And it's like 3 minutes long. I really don't understand. And the funny thing is that, well, yeah, I do understand. The reason why it's this way is because of the title. And the title is just The Problem with Marrying a Non-Virgin Girl. And for those of you who are in the know, then you're gonna understand the problems in pretty much everything this guy says. If you're not in the know, everything is gonna make clear and perfect sense. And that's just the way it is. So let me just take a sip of my cocktail here. It's actually non-alcoholic. It's just pomegranate juice and tonic water. I was not really in the mood for consuming alcohol this evening. But let me just set up the sharing. And then I think at the end here, I'll show you guys a beat that I made. I made some music using AI to create beats that I wanted, and then mixed in some Tibetan chanting with Audacity. It's a lot of fun. This AI thing is really, really cool, and but you know it's coming with a price. So you get a lot of power for a heavy price, and it seems free and cheap and easy right now, but there's definitely going to be payback. There's going to be a cost. But anyways, let's get in here. Share screen. Nope, not that one. All right, I'm going to have to do this. I have to copy it from someplace else and place it into a different thing. So let me just give me a moment. Pardon me. All right, let's see if this works. All right. All right, here we go. I think this is sharing. Yes, it is. Okay.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Masculine Sage YouTube channel. So today we will be talking about the problem with marrying a non-virgin girl.
So of course, right off the bat, thinking that there is a problem with a woman's virginity from the get-go, just having that thought period already puts you in a position of weakness.
First, she is too attached to her past.
How do you know that? So that's a presupposition that comes with presuppositions. So this is a problem already. She's too attached to her past. How do you know? How do you know? What if the guys she's been with have been average chumps? I mean, think about it. The vast majority of guys are average chumps. And women have to fill in their mind, fantasy to fill in the gaps for the parts of him that he isn't, for the parts of the relationship that it isn't. And she goes on believing and creating this intoxicating concoction of what things are when they're really not. And this happens when she's dealing with just a regular guy who really just doesn't have any sort of influence. He's not leading her. He's not giving her any sort of, emotional spikes. He's not really doing anything, really. He's just kind of a bump on a log. So this is the vast majority of guys. So if that's the case, how is it that he's worried about this? How is she's attached? Because I know that most girls, they're having subpar experiences with the guys that they're with. So if I jump in there, I know that there's not really going to be anything to worry about. Not that I would anyways, but if I were inclined to be concerned about thinking of other men that she's been with, which is just weird, if I was, I know that there wouldn't be any sort of competition. That's just goes without saying, but let's continue.
Now this comes with two possibilities. First is that she is still in love with him and she misses him. But she knows that she can't get him back.
She loves him. So her past, so he's looking at her entire past and then localizes it to one guy that she's attached to. Now, this could be the case. This could not be the case. Okay. But see, this is the thing with thinking in generalities, with thinking in terms of what you've read about, what you've deemed as something as common, and you only get a real sense of what things are really like by being with a lot of women, getting to know them. And I mean being with them and getting to know them, not just being their friend and getting to know them, but being with a number of women, getting to know them and understanding that there isn't just this widespread commonality amongst women. Some of them are very attached to people. Some of them are not. And you can't just look at it and go, okay, well, she's attached, and therefore I have no ability to compete with this guy because he's created such a deep anchor in her mind that she can't shake him. This is not the case. But if you are thinking in these terms, you've created it in your head already, because guys are going to look at this and they'll create it in their head before even getting involved with a woman, right? This is a major problem. This is a huge problem because you're dealing with fantasies. And then you're turning the fantasy into a phantom, a boogeyman. And now you're scared. And there's nothing actually happening in your life. You're not actually dealing with anyone. There's some dude sitting there who's not talking to any women, not having sex with any women, not doing anything. And, she's just this phantom being in your mind.
Thus wants to settle down with a man. Second is, she is alpha widowed.
Alpha widowed.
Now you all will wonder, what is it? It means she once dated an alpha, but now can't find a more masculine man to fill the void her ex created. Thus she is stuck and can't move on.
Good Lord. This is the problem of not having enough experience. This is the problem of reading too much about stuff from people who also don't have a lot of experience. Is that you start thinking that these things are real. And just because it's common, just because it's popularly stated, does not make it real. There's plenty of things in the world that are stated in mass scales that are widely popular that are not true. All right? Just because there's numbers behind it doesn't make it true. It just means a lot of people believe it.
In both scenarios, you don't want to be the rebound.
You don't want to be the rebound. So this is already coming from a position of lack. It's coming from a position of, I think I'm lower. it coming from a position of, I don't think I'm her fucking savior. It's not coming from a position of, I am her new home. It's not coming from a position of, I am the prize that's going to change her life. It's coming from a place of fear. It's like, and caution. I don't want to be her rebound, right? The rebound is never anything special or significant. It's just something to bounce off of. Okay. So that's all it is. So it's like, don't be the rebound, right? So he's saying, don't get with a woman who has a past because you can't compete with the person that she's emotionally attached to. You can't compete with the alpha that's in your brain because you don't know who she's actually been with. You're automatically putting yourself in a position of, I'm the rebound guy. So let's avoid women who have any sort of sexual past or relationship past with any other man. What this is saying, I don't have the belief, I don't have the confidence in myself. I do not think that I am her mountain, that I am my own mountain, that she can come to me and feel safe and grounded because I'm safe and grounded. It's not coming from any sort of place of strength. And this is a major problem. This does not solve anything for you by considering yourself as the rebound guy. Okay? This goes right along the lines of, she's not yours, it's just your turn. No, it's her turn. Why don't guys ever think of this? Why can't guys even conceive that this is a possibility? It's her turn with me. Because in order to think that way, you actually have to care about yourself. You actually have to have pride in yourself. You actually have to love yourself, have respect for yourself. You actually have to think that you are great. And most guys don't. They think they're the rebound guy. They can't compete with the alpha that's a phantom. It's not even a real dude. It's a phantom in your head that you feel you can't compete with, that she's become alpha widowed by. How the hell do you know?
Past memories. Humans can't stop themselves from comparing two things because they are hardwired to look for the best possible option.
I think this here is him projecting. I don't do this. Honestly, all I do is think about myself. When I compare something, if I'm like looking to buy something, like if like right now I'm like shopping for boots. Like I love the cap toe boots that have a zipper along the side. They've got about a 6-inch rise on the upper. So I've been comparing those. All right. But I'm not looking at women I've been with. And I don't give a shit what they're thinking because they're entitled to have their thoughts. They're entitled to compare me. I don't care because whatever they think is better or worse is completely up to them. They're free within their rights to have these thoughts. It has nothing to do with me. That's their thoughts in their head that they have full rights to. Okay? They've got the copyright on their thoughts. They're not my thoughts. And their thoughts don't impact my feelings, especially about myself. So why is this guy considering that? Considering her memories and how she's comparing this man to that man. Why do you care? Why do you care what a woman is thinking about and how she feels about her memories? I mean, we all have memories. So basically, what does he want women to just kind of like stay at home, not interact with men, and just wait for guys? Just like wait for them until what? Like that some average dude proposes to her? That's what I think a lot of these guys do. I think a lot of these guys who, now I don't know, maybe he's just making this to appeal to the vast majority of guys who think this way, and he's just very clever and that's how he gets a lot of views, or he's one of them. I don't know. But the point is that a lot of these guys, they are going to think this way. They're going to think women shouldn't have sex with other men, not because they think it might be bad for her, but because it's going to make it more difficult for him. Now, if you think you're the shit, how is anything going to be difficult for you? The only way that this is going to be difficult and challenging is if you don't think that you can meet it or exceed it, or if you're even thinking in terms of having that conflict. In my life, there is no conflict at all because those thoughts don't even occur to me. Why would they? Why would I think about what someone else has done with their life? I'm too busy and too concerned about what I'm doing with my life and the few people that I find very important to me. That's it. So I don't understand why a guy would waste his mental energy and his mental time thinking about some dudes that she's been with in a reality that you didn't even exist in. And now you're combining the realities and making them real for you. Seriously, these guys are weird. They're really, really weird. They are doing this not out of some sort of like the goodness of their heart because they want to protect women. No, they're doing it to protect themselves. They're doing it to protect their own ego because they don't think they can compete. And if you really want to take things further, when you're on my side of the street, there is no competition.
This also applies to comparing two partners.
No, it doesn't.
She will get flashbacks of all the moments she spent with her ex when she will relive them with you.
Is she? So he's a telepath now. How? How does one know? And why do you care? It makes no sense. Why care about this stuff in the first place to even consider it? And secondly, if you're going to consider it, how do you know that she's having flashbacks? Flashbacks? Who gives a shit? Isn't she entitled to have memories? Entitled to have flashbacks? Oh no, that's right. You want her to be a completely clean slate. A clean, dry erase board with no writing, no marks on it whatsoever. Except like the books she's read, and that's it.
What say? Do you want to be this guy? But this is not the worst part. Memories of sexual past.
Oh.
She will compare you with her previous partners. Their performance in bed, the touch, etc.
So here, not only is he thinking about, the time that she spent with other men, now he's thinking about other men fucking her. How insecure do you have to be to think about other men having sex with the woman that you're spending time with? Why do you think about other guys fucking? Why do you compare yourself with other guys fucking? Here it is. Forget all that stuff and learn to fuck a woman really well. Have pride in what you do. Enjoy having sex. And don't think about it. Don't compare anything. Because if you're spending time comparing, guess what that means? It means there's a certain amount of your attention that's not spent in the moment. So I bet guys like this who go into the bedroom sleeping with a girl that they know is not a virgin and thinking about other guys in that moment and ruining the moment that he's actually in while his mind is partially somewhere else. So he's ruining what could have been. So perhaps it's not the performance of these guys from the past, but because of your lack of performance, because part of your mind is somewhere else. Maybe that's a bigger factor than what these guys have done. Perhaps what's happening now is more impactful than what happened back then. And because you're worried about what happened back then, it's fucking up with what's happening now.
You know how it goes.
No, I
So
don't
if
know
you
how
are
it
not
goes.
better than the previous partner, you are fucked. She
You
will
are
live
fucked.
in the memories of sex with her previous partners because you are not as good as they were.
Why are you supposing that you're... See, already comes from a loser mindset. A loser mindset. So in these guys' heads, not only is not only is it are they thinking about these guys spending time with a woman, not only are they thinking about them having sex, now these guys are also thinking about them having really, really good sex. And not only that, it's better than the sex that you're doing. What was that? Like 4 layers of thinking about other men. Why? How does that thought pattern benefit you at all? All it does is drive you down. It takes you away from yourself. It takes you away from the moment. It takes you away from being present, being full of self, and takes you into, takes you into fucking phantom zone while you're thinking about other dudes fucking. And they're fucking better than you. So while you're imagining them fucking, you're comparing yourself to these imaginary figures. I don't know how. I have no idea how men live like this. And then do. Like this video had 25,000 views. Okay? Now I know there's videos that have millions, but I'm saying like in this genre, that's a pretty good number. Okay? Especially for a video that's just a couple minutes long. So 25,000 views. And we could I would guess at least 2/3 of those can relate on some level. And they're like, yeah, man. So let's not bother with any of these girls unless they're pure virgins, because then our fragile little egos will be protected. Because I don't believe in myself. I don't have any pride in myself. I don't think I've got any skills whatsoever, and I certainly can't impact her at all. So let's just try to get a girl who knows nothing about sex, knows nothing about her body, knows nothing about arousal, so that even my crappy level 2 skill level will just rock her world. And so I'll be safe, not because I actually want to rock her world, but I'm more interested in protecting myself. Lame.
Do you want to be this guy?
No.
The trauma.
The trauma.
Heartbreaks leaves scars on women. Do you want to fix all her scars? Are you willing to save her? Are you willing to give your precious time to heal her scars, which are given by another man?
There are always going to be life scars. I've not been with a virgin since high school, okay? But I can tell you, I remember she had scars. She had scars from her parents. She had scars from friends. She had all kinds of scars, okay? Again, this hasn't any, like, it sounds like you're talking about like the woman's well-being and this sort of thing. No. Again, all this is just strategies to protect your ego, because you don't think you got it, because you know you're not that guy. You know you can't compete. So you're looking for the best possible option that's easiest, but it's not, because, well, frankly, there's not a lot of virgins in the world, or at least in America. I don't know how it is wherever this guy's from, but in America, it's not super common, I don't think, past maybe 14, 15, something like that. So it's better to just get better, become influential, become a really good lover, know how to fuck her mind, fuck her heart, and fuck her body really well. And if you do that really well, chances are there's not going to be a breakup. Chances are she's going to want to work with you. She's going to want to figure things out. She's going to want to grow with you. She's going to stick by your side. Just as a side tangent here, the thing that they don't talk about when they talk about divorces and such, and they say that the most common thing for divorce is irreconcilable differences, finances, I don't know what else is in there. I don't know. They never talk about the sex. They never talk about how good or bad the sex is. And I would be willing to bet that there's like of the divorces, there's very, very few of them that have fantastic sex. There might be some kind of correlation there. I don't know. I'm not making any claims. So again, with this guy here talking about protecting himself from the traumatized woman. Oh, do you want to fix her? When you can lead and influence, it's not a burden. Every woman's going to come with something, okay? Whether it's from her parents or an uncle or, some sort of sexual, abuse or something like that. There's all kinds of stuff. Maybe it's from her religion. Who knows? But either way, no matter what, you're still going to be instructing her to be on your program and how. And part of that through growth and through what the depths that you take her, as well as yourself, healing happens. It's just part of the thing. All right. So it sounds like these guys don't want to work. They're afraid of work. They're afraid of getting their hands dirty. It's like, I have no fear. I have no fear of a woman's trauma. I have no fear of her having, things that happened to her in her past. I have no problem with her having some great memories of a guy she's been with. You know what that leads to? It leads to listening to a lot of really fun stories. I've heard tons of fun stories from my girlfriend. As I'm not sitting there going, oh my God, she did this with that guy, No, because I tell my stories. It doesn't make her uncomfortable. It's part of living life, is having experiences with other human beings. Again, looks like these guys just want these girls to be like sitting there inside a shell like a little matryoshka doll.
Are you willing to marry a alpha widow? Answer wise.
Again, this is assuming that they're not the alpha. Right? That's already coming to the conclusion without saying so. I'm not that influential. I'm not that guy. I'm not a leader. I am ineffective. That's what that's saying.
Wisely. On the other hand, a virgin girl is moldable and will easily adapt to you.
Yeah, see, easily. These guys, they want ease, because if you don't have any skills, okay, that's like saying like, well, I suck playing basketball, so I don't want to join the NBA. I'm going to go play with a bunch of kids down at the playground. And while I'm a full-grown adult and have a little bit of understanding of basketball, and that's a good way to win when you're playing against somebody who's really easy. They're looking for ease. No, I get it. Okay, relationships, they can be challenging. They're always can be challenging. All right, that's the nature of them. You're taking two different consciousnesses and bringing them together. Right? It's not always going to be smooth sailing. But here's the thing: if you're influential and you know how to lead, you can get into her core as her being of who she is. Having moldability is not a problem. All right. Now, of course, trust can be a factor, okay, depending on how deep you go. Okay. So the deeper you go, the more trust is needed. All right. So even if they're without experience or very little experience with men, there's always going to be a certain threshold of trust. So there's an area that's okay. All right. And then beneath that level down here, there's going to be a need for a lot of trust. Okay. And this is where your confidence comes into play. This is where your leadership comes into play. This is where your compassion comes into play. This is knowing how to teach, knowing how to guide, okay? Knowing how to be a vessel in which someone can feel emotionally and psychologically safe. This is where this all comes into play, okay? And every person has that threshold, all right? Some people's threshold is higher, some people's lower. But at some point, whether she's been with 20 guys or 50 guys or one guy or 0 guys, there's going to be a threshold of trust. It's just how humans are. And for these guys, it's not going to be easy because these guys don't have any ability to lead. They don't have any ability to influence. They're not fucking her really good. They're not leading her in and out of the bedroom. So it's no wonder, right? It's no surprise that these guys want someone who's moldable, who has a blank slate, that's easily influenced, easily can give you trust, okay? Like naive. Wants a naive girl, all right? And it's not because that's so great, right? It's not looking at it from looking at the object of their desire and saying, that's really great. I love that, all right? If that's your thing and you love that, great, all right? That's fine. But it's not coming from that perspective, is it? It's coming from the perspective, again, of protecting their ego because they're afraid that they don't have what it takes to lead and be influential.
No previous memories or stupid past. You are a smart man if you follow me and read my content.
Oh.
Make a wise decision. Good luck. And be great.
Yeah, so there you have it. That is some wild shit right there. I don't know, like, guys who are living this way, I really don't know. I really don't know how you do it. I don't know how you go through life obsessing over the lack of virgins in the world. And, because there's not a lot of virgins, like I said, especially if you're in America, that's probably freaking out a lot of guys. if you're all about virgins, man, you're probably really fucking, you're probably really paranoid and fucked up right now. What's up, Uncle Guns? Good to see you, buddy. Respect to you. Yeah, you're right. It places more value on a strange woman than a guy in the mirror you've known your whole life. Well said. I've been in this body for 46 years. No doubt, this better be my favorite person on the planet. Right? I'm stuck here. I better be my favorite person on the planet. That said, how can you place a woman above you? And so not only is it trying to protect the ego, but it's taking this concept of virgin and placing it way up there. Okay? Because just because she hasn't been with any guys doesn't mean she's not going to look at you and think you're a complete fool. Right? Like, it's baked into the female psychology to know a chump from a non-chump. They just know. They can feel it in their gut. They may not even be able to articulate the reason why they don't like a certain guy. And these guys think that just because she's a virgin, things are going to be easy. Okay? That doesn't mean there's going to be compatibility. It doesn't mean that you guys are going to be sexually compatible or socially compatible. It just means she's not stuck with those scary memories. Fucking hell, man. Those scary, scary memories, man. And to me, like I said, they're fun. I have no problem I have no problem hearing about a woman's past. I like it. Like for me, it's entertainment. It's entertainment hearing about the fun, wild shit that my woman's done. You know, I don't know. It just makes me look at her and think that she's worldly. She's experienced some interesting stuff. You know, some good, some bad, just like me. I've had good experiences and bad experiences. And it all just gives self-knowledge, right? Especially if someone is inclined to be that way, you know? If someone's a complete idiot and they have no ability to reflect on their experiences and help them come to a greater understanding of self and to grow, well, then you're dealing with a problem. I would say that's more problematic than someone who has, a lot of experiences and does something with it. You know, you can be with a bunch of lovers and learn nothing, and you're no better off than you were when you started, right? And then there's difference between that, being with a bunch of lovers and learning something, growing. And, it's like they're not all going to be bad. So it's enriching. Like what if a woman, now the chances are slim because just there's a lot of average males out there that are terrible, but imagine she was just with great guys, like who really knew how to fuck, really knew how to massage her mind and make her heart feel good and allow her to grow and, understand herself better. What if that was the case? Or she had let's just say she had a series of really great sexual experiences. Why would that be bad? It's only bad, just like that guy, it's only bad if you're comparing yourself. And just in the position of comparing, just being in that thought pattern, like it just thinking about other people than yourself puts you at a state of weakness just from the get-go. And the thing is, this is why I talk about protecting your mind and treating your mind as a sanctuary, treating your mind as a fortress, okay? Because it's a soft place. Okay, it's not like your body where you can put on armor and you can brace yourself and learn martial arts or learn how to box, like that sort of thing. Okay, like it's things can get in easy, right? You see images, all the things that you see and hear, they're recorded in your brain forever. Now we don't have the ability to access them, but they're put into your subconscious. So you need to be aware of these things. You need to be aware of what you're consuming. Because your mind is soft. It's not hard like your body. So you have to protect it. And it's like, by allowing these sort of thoughts coming in, you're just inviting, it's like a Trojan horse. And you're inviting thoughts that you would consider an enemy, right? Because these thoughts don't serve you. They don't benefit you in any kind of way. Like the thought of, like this, what this guy was talking about, where he said, she's going to be worrying about this alpha that she was with one time. How does having that thought benefit you? How does that serve you? How does that make you stronger? How does that make you grow? How does that make you more introspective? All that does is it puts you on a stronger pathway of defensiveness. All that does, it just increases your defense and makes you paranoid. So it's not even good defense. It's not effective defense. It's defense for your ego and your feelings. That's all it is. It doesn't actually do anything productive. That's a major problem. Your thoughts are vital to how you move. And if you got shitty thoughts, you're not going to move very good. It's going to be terrible for you out here. Terrible. So it's really important that you Protect the fortress of your mind. Protect the sanctuary of your mind with a fortress. Don't let in thoughts that are non-productive. Use the hatchet when they come up. You have to control your mind. Because if you don't, someone else will. Yeah. Like most guys, guns, most guys haven't had as much sex as women, and that's fine. It is what it is. And it's really not that big of a deal. Like honestly. Because you can also look at it in the sense of, so a woman's palate is broader than a man's palate, which means he now has more opportunities to go in, right? Does that make sense? So if she's done A, B, C, D, E, and F, and he's done A, B, C, now he has possible access to doing D, E, and F, right? Because she's already done this. So it's like the pathway is already there. And then once you're there, you can go to G, H, I, J, K, who knows where, right? It's like, just guys like take this stuff like way too, like seriously. Why are these guys taking this so seriously? Why are guys worried so much about a woman's past? It's not that big of a deal. It really isn't. It's really not that big of a deal. Like seriously, it's just pussy, guys. And this like when guys are talking this way, like when you're really preoccupied with a woman's past, it just shows that you've got craving, right? Like you've got craving for sex, you've got craving for the things that are attached to it, whatever's attachments you have going on in your head. And whenever you have a craving, it's something that's controlling you. So these guys are craving woman, okay? But they're scared because they've created this boogeyman in their head. So they're effectively torturing themselves. All right? It's way easier. Instead of worrying about all that stuff, like, hey, if you come across a virgin, great, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, you're still at the end of the day just dealing with a woman. Okay? Whether she's been with a number of guys or not. Like, she's still a woman. So I don't even give a shit about that. But it's like, it's way easier to just learn how to lead. It's way easier to become a better, stronger man in the light of yourself, in the mirror, okay? Not as it relates to her. Love yourself more than you could ever possibly love a woman. That will be way better for you, and then involve yourself with any woman you want, and it won't matter. It won't matter at all. Not one bit. Yeah, you can utilize your experiences not only to up your own count, guns, but to up your palate. That's what's more important, okay? Because here's the thing. Guys are way too preoccupied with numbers, okay? Because you could have, say 5 lovers, but these lovers were very experienced, and your experiences with them were fan-fucking-tastic. Or you could have 35 lovers, but the majority of them were just like average or below average, boring, just bland, like whatever, just kind of like done, right? Nothing spectacular, nothing exploratory, nothing growth oriented. All right. So what good is it? Like all it did was serve as a mechanism to release dopamine. That's all it is. That's what That's what these guys are after. That's what a lot of guys are after. They're after the soft, wet thing that can give them dopamine release because it helps them feel happy. Well, what if you're already happy? Then you don't exactly need that, do you? And then once you've taken the power out of the pussy, well, and shout out to Steve because that's his line. But seriously, once you've taken the power out of it, there's really nothing that a woman can do to really have any kind of sway over you, right? Because you already weren't listening to her, right? And if you were, the only time that's, well, no, it still whittles down to sex. Because I was going to say the only time it really, matters if the guy is looking for validation. And he will heed her words, but it's really so he can stay in good graces to have access to her body. So it always just whittles down to sex for these guys. But, once you guys just sever that, it's not even a severing. It's like you're like sanding it down, because it's a process for most people. But it's a sanding down until it gets so thin that it breaks. And when you get to that point of not really needing that validation that comes from sex or the dopamine that comes from sex, there's really little else that a woman can do to influence you, to make you do something. And also like when you don't have that sort of the emotional attachments that come from that, the neediness, right? The craving for emotional satisfaction. Now there's nothing. It's like, you're like, you're impregnable, right? You're an impregnable fortress. You can only move when you feel like moving. And it really sends a lot of women for a loop once they realize that they really don't have much of a sway over you. Over your choices, your thoughts, how you move, how you think. So it's like, this is really powerful. This is the really powerful thing. And these guys aren't, like the video that I reviewed, these guys aren't thinking like that. Where did he say to take the power away from her by removing it from yourself? Right? Because they can't do that because they're still making all about women. And the secret in the sauce, right? The secret in the sauce is just like the first Kung Fu Panda movie. I don't know if you ever saw that shit, but it's good, right? And the Tai Long, they were after this like secret magic scroll that had like mystical ass-kicking kung fu secrets in it. And Po, he's like trying to protect this scroll. And finally at the end, like Tai Long is just like kicking the crap out of him. And, he can't fight him. Po can't fight him anymore. And Tai Long finally gets the scroll and he unravels it. And it's just reflective. There's just like a sheen on there. And all he can do is see his own face. And he's like, what? Flips it around. He's like, what the hell? There's nothing here. And then Po gets it. And he's like, oh, the secret is you, right? Because it was his reflection in the scroll when he unraveled it. And he said, the secret is you. That's the secret here. Like, that's the secret to the game. It's you. You're the secret sauce. And that's it. And it's only as complex as you want to make it. I know guys who are very simple about things. And I know guys who are extremely complicated about things. Yet they still make it about themselves. So your sauce could be a 2-ingredient sauce. Or your sauce can be a 14-ingredient sauce. It doesn't matter. Because it's yours. You can do with it as you will. So, the point is that that's where it all originates. And ironically, That's where all of your suffering originates as well. But truly, it has to do with when you bring yourself out from that, right? You stop looking at the reflective scroll and you start peering over the top and you're like, what's out there? Let me start dealing with all that bullshit. And you put the scroll down and you start fucking around. And what do they say? You fuck around and find out? Well, there's a lot of guys who are finding out by fucking around and, well, not learning from it. When you really study yourself, you learn pretty much all the answers to everything. I mean, you're not going to learn algebra, but, you'll learn about human behavior by learning yourself. But that has to do with, like, if you take that path, it challenges your greed, it challenges your need, your craving, and it becomes really difficult for a lot of dudes because you have to be able to face yourself. You have to be able to face your weakness. Like in the Buddhist traditions, it says that the three main poisons that bring people down into the world of suffering is ignorance, hatred, and desire. All right? Those are the three things that really bring people down and cause a lot of suffering. Okay? The lack of knowledge, hating on people and the things that come from that, and your cravings. So if you're stuck craving women, and women are great, I love women, but if you're stuck craving them, while your attention is on the thing, okay, you start thinking, it starts causing suffering, okay? It can cause physical suffering, emotional suffering, psychological suffering, sexual suffering, financial suffering, all sorts of suffering. And because you're interacting with that thing, it makes you think that that's the source. It's not. That's not the source of men's problems. Women are not the source of men's problems. It's your craving and your attachment to that thing that is causing the problem. That's where the suffering is. The craving and the attachment to women. Because somewhere along the line, in the young man's development, it was learned that a good self-image can result from gaining some sort of positive interaction with that thing. Okay? Like mommy gave me a lot of praise. So I learned and developed a codependency that if I do X, mommy character will give me something that I like. Okay? And so for a lot of guys who haven't cut that umbilical cord, the archetype of mother continues to proliferate through their years. And they start dealing with women on the same level. And it's easy enough to say that, oh, they've got mommy issues, right? They should just deal with their mommy issues. But it's a little bit more complex than that, right? Because you've got raveled up psychology in this stuff. But so you understand, like, it really has nothing to do with the girl. But the guy who doesn't understand these things is going to look at her and her antics and think, she's the cause of my suffering. She's not. It's a woman womaning. That's it. It's a woman womaning. And you can't blame a creature for being itself. Right? It's like that old story about the girl. She's like walking in her fields or something like that, and she finds a snake that's been hurt, and she brings the snake back and nurses it back to health. And then once it's healthy, she's like goes to like grab it or something, and it bites her. And she's like, "Damn, you bit me! Like you were on death's door. I took care of you, brought you back to life in good health, and you bite me." And he's like, "Yeah, lady, I'm a snake. What did you expect?" You'd expect the creature to not be what it is just because it's some sort of different context. Why? Allow women to woman. Don't try to change them. Well, until things get deep and she's, on your program well, and you're leading it down deep channels, and she willingly offers her ego and her pride and her habits and her perceptions and her beliefs, and willingly offers them to be changed. And you have the influence to encourage that change. So, but until that point, like, just let woman. Just like you're going to let a tiger be a tiger, right? Or a duck be a duck. Just let them be. And, you let them be, combined with, sanding down your attachment to physical pleasure, your attachment to sex, your attachment to pussy, right? And breaking that down so it has no more control over you in any way. You live a life of freedom. At least in that context. In the context of women, you will live in complete freedom. You want to talk about attractive? When a woman comes across a man who they can feel is free, like it gives off an aura. There's an odor to it that a woman can smell, and it's like, oh, this guy's relaxed. He is relaxed around me, almost like he doesn't need me at all for anything. Well, that's an odd feeling. I'm so used to men needing me for all sorts of stuff, especially my body. Am I not cute enough? What's going on here? Right? And it starts throwing them for a loop. All the while, you can easily transmit your sexuality because you have no shame, you have no guilt, you love yourself. So you can easily transmit sexual vibes, sexual energy, or straight verbal sexual communication. Not because you really want it, but just simply because you can. Because you can express yourself. And for nothing other than to share with her something you can do creatively. Right? Because that's even just vibe, right? You have to will vibe. You can pull it up out of you, okay? Just by having a certain thought and a feeling, you can bring out your energy and bring out a sexual vibe. With just how you feel, your thought patterns, and how you're looking at her. It's something she can taste. She can smell it. She can feel it, okay? And you don't even need to be talking about anything sexual. And so this can be released from you. And right, so this is a form of creativity because you have to create this, right? You have to will it to happen. And you're not doing it for her, right? Much in the same way that, like an artist is not doing something for the accolades or the praise of their viewers. They're creating the thing because they like to create. And that's it. And maybe it just so happens that others think that it's cool. That's it. Okay? So it's the same thing when you're sitting there with a woman and you can just be this way. You can bring it out of you. You can will your sexual energy. And whether you want to communicate that or not is up to you. That's your will. But you combine that with having no real need for her to respond or to crave you or anything like that. And she gets a sense that you don't need her. It's a huge turn on, right? Mixed with like curiosity and, so it's like, wait, what's going on with this dude? Because he seems relaxed. Like he seems cool. There's no nervous energy about him. There's no anxiety. What's going on with him? Right? Because she's seen all that other stuff. She knows what anxiety looks like. She knows what thirst looks like. She knows what playing games looks like. She knows what a guy who's trying to be slick looks like. Okay? She knows what these PUA guys are full of. But it's rare. Now, I'm not saying she has no knowledge, but it's rare to come across a guy who's relaxed, who has stillness, and is not craving. And so maybe it comes across every once in a while, okay? But when it does happen, whether it's the first time or the first time in a while, it's like, okay, this is interesting. Or I remember this, being around a guy like this. Okay, all right, I'm not gonna mess this up. And that's really what happens. So get your cravings under control. Okay? It's probably one of the most powerful things you can do as a man, is control your cravings, control your impulses. And that inadvertently pulls the power out of the pussy. And then once there's that gone, there's really nothing else. There's really nothing else. Unless you're like a young guy and you can, you easily fall in love. Excuse me. So that's that. But yeah, this was all right. Shit, we've gone on for an hour, so I'm at my mark. I want to try to keep things about an hour, and listen to this beat that I made. Buddhist monks. I think we already went past the. Oh no, there's the kicker. I love that Tibetan throat singing. Like, that shit is dope. Man, I wish I could freestyle, because I would be all over that shit. A little like Asian influence, some like nice simple like kicking beats, and then the monks in there, like, whoa, that'd be, and with some freestyle like popping on top of that, like bouncing between the beats, that would be sick. But I don't have those skills. So, all right. Well, that's it for now. I appreciate everybody who has come through on the live, and those of you who are catching it on the replay, I encourage you to go to thedominanceacademy.com. I'm working on some new stuff. I've got a freebie on there for, it's free to download. Just put $0 in the checkout and just say, I want this, and then it'll be emailed to you. And, just some real simple, basic stuff, that's why it's free, but fun to read nonetheless, and helpful for some of you. So again, thank you guys, and we're out of here.